Captain Liam Harper stood on the bridge of the EOS Voyager gazing out at the endless sea of stars. The ship hummed softly around him, a comforting sound that reminded him of how far they had traveled and how much farther they still had to go. His crew was made up of some of the best minds in the galaxy, aliens with abilities and intelligence far beyond what humans could ever hope to achieve. Yet, as he looked at them, something felt off. There was an emptiness, a lack of unpredictability, that left him uneasy. The EOS Voyager wasn't just any ship. It carried advanced technology and cutting-edge equipment designed to explore the farthest reaches of space. But despite all its power and precision, Harper couldn't shake the feeling that something crucial was missing. He turned to Zeta-7, the ship's artificial intelligence system, which floated silently beside him like a glowing orb. "Status report," he said, his voice calm but firm. "All systems are functioning optimally," replied Zeta-7 in its smooth mechanical tone. "Our next destination is Proxima Centauri b, a human colony located approximately 4 light-years from Earth. Estimated arrival time, 36 hours. Harper frowned slightly. Humans. Just thinking about them made him both curious and nervous. They were unpredictable, emotional, and often irrational. But there was also something about them that fascinated him. Over the years, he'd heard countless stories from other captains who swore by having at least one human crew member. Some claimed it brought balance to their teams, while others said it added chaos, but always in a way that somehow worked. Harper had never understood why until now. He decided to take a chance. Before leaving for Proxima Centauri b, he sent a message to the colony's leader requesting a volunteer to join his crew temporarily. He didn't specify what kind of person he needed. He figured whoever showed up would be interesting enough. As the hours passed, Harper found himself growing more anxious. What if this decision backfired? What if bringing the human aboard disrupted everything? When the shuttle finally docked, Harper walked down to meet the new recruit. The door opened, and a young woman stepped out. She wore simple clothes, her dark hair tied back into a loose ponytail. Her green eyes scanned the room quickly before settling on him. For a moment, she seemed unsure, almost hesitant. Then she smiled, a small, confident smile, and extended her hand. "Anna Bennett," she said, her voice steady. "Thanks for having me." Harper shook her hand, noting how strong her grip was. "Welcome aboard, Anna. I'm Captain Harper." He gestured toward the rest of the crew, who had gathered nearby. "This is your team. We'll brief you on our mission later, but for now, make yourself comfortable." As Anna introduced herself to the others, Harper watched closely. His crew consisted of beings from various species, each one highly skilled and disciplined. There was Kale, the reptilian engineer whose scales shimmered faintly under the ship's lights. Vera, the emotionless android medic programmed to assist without question. And Silo, the tactical officer whose sharp features and cold demeanor matched his logical approach to problem-solving. Each reacted differently to Anna's arrival. Kale tilted his head curiously, studying her as though she were a puzzle. Vera gave no reaction at all, simply nodding politely. Xylo, however, narrowed his eyes, clearly skeptical. Anna didn't seem fazed by their scrutiny. Instead, she asked questions, lots of them. Within minutes, she was chatting animatedly with Kale about engine modifications and teasing Vera about her monotone responses. Harper noticed how effortlessly she broke through barriers that usually took weeks to overcome. She laughed easily, listened intently, and offered opinions without hesitation. It was refreshing, but also a little unsettling. By the end of the day, Harper realized that Anna had already begun to change things. Conversations flowed more freely, laughter echoed through the halls, and even Silo looked less stiff than usual. Harper couldn't help but wonder, was this what other captains meant when they talked about the value of a human crew member? If so, he was starting to understand. Humans weren't perfect. They were messy, impulsive, and sometimes downright infuriating. but they brought something irreplaceable to the table, something raw and real. And yet, Harper couldn't ignore the nagging thought in the back of his mind. How long would it take before Anna's presence caused trouble instead of harmony? Anna Bennett had only been aboard the EO's Voyager for a few hours, but her impact was already undeniable. She moved through the ship with an easy confidence, asking questions and offering suggestions as though she'd been part of the crew for years. Her curiosity seemed endless, and she didn't hesitate to voice her thoughts, even when they challenged long-standing protocols. It wasn't long before her presence sparked its first real test. The ship's sensors detected an anomaly ahead, a cluster of debris floating dangerously close to their flight path. Silo, the tactical officer, immediately began calculating the safest route around it. His movements were precise, his tone clipped as he relayed instructions to the helm. But Anna, standing nearby, tilted her head thoughtfully. "Why don't we just go straight through?" she asked suddenly. The room fell silent. Every pair of eyes turned to her, some curious, others skeptical. Silo blinked slowly, clearly irritated by the interruption. "The debris field poses a significant risk," he said flatly. "Avoidance is the logical course of action." Anna crossed her arms, unfazed by his dismissive tone. "Yeah, but avoidance takes time and fuel. If we adjust the shields and maintain a steady speed, we can cut right through without much trouble. I've seen pilots do it back home all the time." Harper stepped forward, his expression unreadable. He glanced at Anna, then at Silo, weighing the options. "Explain your reasoning," he said finally, addressing Anna. She nodded eagerly. "The debris isn't moving fast, and most of it's small enough that the shields can handle it. We'll lose a bit of shield energy, sure, but not enough to put us in danger. Plus, we save hours and resources by not rerouting." The bridge was quiet as everyone processed her words. Kale, the reptilian engineer, tapped a claw against his chin thoughtfully. Vira, the android medic, tilted her head slightly, analyzing the data on her screen. Even Silo hesitated, though his frown deepened. "This approach carries unnecessary risks," Silo argued. "Protocol dictates. Sometimes protocol needs tweaking." Anna interrupted, her voice firm but respectful. "Look, I'm not saying my way is perfect, but it's worth considering. You've got the best tech in the galaxy. Why not use it?" Harper studied her for a moment longer, then gave a small nod. "Prepare the shields," he ordered. "We'll proceed as Anna suggests, but stay alert for any complications." As the ship navigated through the debris field, tension hung thick in the air. Sparks flew occasionally where smaller fragments struck the reinforced shields, but the EO's Voyager emerged unscathed on the other side. Anna grinned triumphantly, while Silo muttered something under his breath about reckless decisions. Harper, however, couldn't deny the results. They had saved valuable time and resources, all thanks to Anna's unconventional idea. Later that evening, Harper found Anna in the mess hall, sipping a cup of tea. She looked up as he approached and offered him a sheepish smile. "I hope I didn't cause too much trouble earlier," she said. "I know I can come across as pushy sometimes." Harper sat down across from her, shaking his head. "You didn't cause trouble. You solved a problem. That's what matters." He paused, studying her face. "But tell me this, why do you always question everything? Don't you trust our systems?" Anna chuckled softly. "It's not about distrust. It's about perspective. Machines and rules are great. They keep things running smoothly. But they don't always account for creativity or instinct. Sometimes you need someone willing to think outside the box." Her answer intrigued him. Harper had spent years relying on logic and precision, trusting that following the rules would lead to success. Yet here was Anna, reminding him that there was another way, a human way. Her methods might be unpredictable, even risky, but they worked. And more importantly, they inspired those around her. Over the next few days, Anna continued to make waves. She helped Kale tweak the engine designs, suggesting minor adjustments that boosted efficiency. She convinced Vera to try experimenting with different medical techniques, blending traditional practices with futuristic tools. Even Silo, who still regarded her with suspicion, grudgingly admitted that her input during strategy sessions was useful. But it wasn't just her skills that changed the crew, it was her attitude. Anna laughed often, joked freely, and encouraged others to share their thoughts. Slowly but surely, the rigid hierarchy that had defined the *EOS Voyager * began to soften. Conversations grew livelier, ideas flowed more freely, and the atmosphere became warmer. Still, Harper couldn't ignore the challenges Anna brought. Her boldness sometimes bordered on recklessness, and her habit of questioning authority tested his patience. Yet every time he considered reining her in, she proved herself again, whether by solving a problem no one else could or simply brightening the mood with her infectious enthusiasm. By the end of her second week aboard, Harper realized something important. Anna wasn't just a crew member. She was a catalyst, a force that pushed everyone to be better, to think harder, to dream bigger. And though her unpredictability still worried him, he couldn't deny the value she brought to the team. Humans, he decided, were indeed terrifying, but in the best possible way. The *EOS Voyager * was cruising smoothly through space when disaster struck. A sudden jolt shook the ship, throwing everyone off balance. Alarms blared loudly as red warning lights flashed across the bridge. Harper rushed to his command chair, his calm demeanor masking the urgency in his mind. "Report," he barked. "It's the warp core," Cale said quickly, his scaled hands flying over the engineering console. "There's an energy fluctuation. If we don't stabilize it, the entire system could collapse." Harper turned to Silo. "Evacuate non-essential personnel and prepare emergency protocols." His voice was steady, but inside, he felt the weight of the situation pressing down on him. Losing the warp core meant losing their ability to travel faster than light, a death sentence if they were stranded in deep space. Anna, who had been observing quietly from the side, stepped forward. "Wait," she said firmly. "There might be another way." Silo shot her a sharp look. "We don't have time for untested theories," he snapped. "Protocol requires immediate evacuation." Anna ignored him and addressed Harper directly. "Captain, hear me out. Instead of shutting down the core completely, what if we reroute some of the excess energy into the auxiliary systems? It'll buy us enough time to recalibrate the stabilizers manually." Harper hesitated. Anna's suggestion went against standard procedure, and the risks were enormous. Redirecting unstable energy could overload the auxiliary systems, potentially causing even more damage. But time was running out, and they needed a solution. Fast. "Cal, is it possible?" Harper asked, glancing at the engineer. Cale hesitated, his claws tapping nervously on the console. "It's risky, Captain. But yes, it could work." Harper nodded once. "Do it." Anna didn't wait for further instructions. She grabbed a toolkit and followed Cale to the engineering bay, where the hum of the failing warp core grew louder with each passing second. The air was thick with tension as they worked together, their movements quick and precise. Anna moved with surprising confidence, her hands steady despite the danger around them. "This panel needs to be reconfigured," Anna said, pointing to a section of the core. "If we adjust the frequency here, it should help contain the energy surge." Cale nodded and handed her a tool. They worked side by side, their focus unwavering. For a moment, the chaos outside faded away, leaving only the task at hand. When they finished, Anna stepped back, wiping sweat from her brow. "That should do it," she said, though her voice carried a hint of uncertainty. Back on the bridge, Harper watched anxiously as the crew monitored the adjustments. The alarms softened, and the trembling subsided. Slowly, the warp core stabilized. A collective sigh of relief swept through the room. "You did it," Harper said, addressing Anna and Cale as they returned to the bridge. He allowed himself a small smile. "Good work." But not everyone shared his gratitude. Silo stood stiffly, his arms crossed. "This outcome does not justify the risks taken," he said coldly. "Following protocol would have ensured safety." Anna met his gaze without flinching. "Sometimes sticking to protocol isn't enough," she replied. "You've got to adapt, or you risk losing everything." Her words hung in the air, sparking murmurs among the crew. Some nodded in agreement, while others exchanged uneasy glances. Harper noticed the divide forming, but chose not to address it immediately. Instead, he dismissed everyone to rest after the harrowing ordeal. Later that night, Harper found Anna alone in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. She looked tired but content, her earlier bravado replaced by quiet reflection. "You took a big risk today," he said, joining her. She shrugged. "Someone had to. I wasn't about to let this ship go down without trying something." Harper studied her profile, noting the determination etched into her features. "You saved us," he admitted, "but you also broke nearly every rule in the book. Do you always operate like that?" Anna smiled faintly. "Rules are important. They give structure. But sometimes survival means thinking beyond them. Humans aren't perfect, Captain. We make mistakes, take chances, and occasionally drive people crazy. But we also find ways to fix things when nothing else works." Her honesty struck a chord with him. Harper realized that Anna's unpredictability was both her greatest strength and her biggest flaw. She pushed boundaries, challenged authority, and forced others to rethink their assumptions. It wasn't always comfortable, but it was effective. As the days passed, Anna's influence continued to shape the crew. Her willingness to take risks inspired others to step outside their comfort zones. Even Silo, though still wary of her methods, began to acknowledge her contributions, albeit reluctantly. Yet Harper couldn't shake the feeling that Anna's boldness would one day lead to trouble. For now, though, he was grateful for her presence. Humans might be unpredictable, emotional, and sometimes downright terrifying. But they were also resourceful, resilient, and capable of achieving the impossible. And as long as Anna was aboard the EO's Voyager, there was no challenge they couldn't face together. Anna's presence on the EO's Voyager continued to create ripples, both big and small. While her knack for solving problems had earned her respect, her habit of questioning everything kept some crew members on edge. But what truly set her apart was her ability to connect with others in ways no one expected. One evening, after a long day of repairs and recalibrations, Anna found herself in the ship's lounge. Kale, the reptilian engineer, sat alone at a table, quietly eating a meal that looked more like moss than food. Most of the crew avoided sitting near him, not because he was unfriendly, but because his quiet nature made conversations awkward. Anna, however, didn't hesitate. She grabbed a plate of her own and slid into the seat across from him. "Mind if I join you?" she asked with a warm smile. Kale blinked slowly, his golden eyes narrowing slightly in surprise. "You are different," he said after a pause, his voice low and raspy. "That's one way to put it," Anna replied with a chuckle. "I just figured we haven't really talked much since I got here. Thought it was about time." Kale tilted his head, studying her curiously. "Why? Why not?" Anna shrugged. "You're part of the team, right? And honestly, you've been a huge help with the ship. I wanted to say thanks." For a moment, Kale didn't respond. Then, almost imperceptibly, the corners of his mouth twitched upward, a faint sign of amusement or approval. They spent the next hour talking, mostly about engineering and the intricacies of the EO's Voyager's systems. Anna listened intently, asking thoughtful questions that seemed to genuinely interest Kale. By the end of their conversation, he even laughed, a soft, rumbling sound that caught the attention of nearby crew members. Word spread quickly about Anna's unexpected bond with Kale. It wasn't just him, though. Over the following days, she managed to break through barriers with others as well. Vira, the android medic, became an unlikely target of Anna's charm. At first, Vera dismissed Anna's attempts at conversation, responding with her usual monotone efficiency. But Anna persisted, sharing jokes and stories from Earth until one finally elicited a reaction, a flicker of confusion in Vera's otherwise blank expression. "I do not understand humor," Vera admitted during one exchange. "It seems illogical." Anna grinned. "That's the point. Humor doesn't have to make sense. It's just supposed to make you feel good." To everyone's astonishment, Vera began experimenting with telling jokes herself. Though her delivery lacked timing and nuance, her efforts brought laughter to the crew, and a strange sort of pride to Anna, who saw it as proof that even machines could learn to embrace humanity's quirks. Even Silo, the stoic tactical officer, wasn't immune to Anna's influence. During a strategy meeting, she suggested an unorthodox approach to dealing with a group of hostile drones blocking their path. Silo initially dismissed her idea as reckless, but when pressed, he reluctantly admitted it had merit. The plan worked flawlessly, and afterward, Silo gave Anna a curt nod, a rare gesture of acknowledgement that spoke volumes. Harper observed these changes with a mix of fascination and concern. On one hand, Anna's ability to unite the crew was remarkable. Conversations flowed more naturally now, and tensions seemed to ease. Morale was higher than it had been in months, but on the other hand, her impulsiveness still worried him. Her tendency to act first and ask questions later meant trouble could arise at any moment. That fear came true during a routine exploration mission. The *EO's Voyager * encountered a derelict alien vessel drifting in space. Scans revealed no signs of life, so Harper authorized a boarding party to investigate. Anna volunteered immediately, despite warnings from Silo about potential dangers. Inside the abandoned ship, they discovered strange symbols etched into the walls and equipment far beyond anything they'd seen before. Anna's curiosity got the better of her, and she wandered away from the group to examine a glowing artifact. Before anyone could stop her, she touched it, and triggered a sudden surge of energy that sent sparks flying. "Anna!" Harper shouted, rushing toward her. The rest of the team scrambled to secure the area, while Anna stumbled back, shaken but unharmed. "What did you do?" Silo demanded, his tone sharp with frustration. "I didn't mean to," Anna protested, holding up her hands defensively. "I was just trying to figure out what it does." Though the situation ended without serious consequences, it left Harper wondering how many close calls they could afford before Anna's boldness led to disaster. Yet, as he watched her apologize sincerely to the crew and vow to be more careful, he couldn't help but admire her spirit. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but isn't that what made them extraordinary? As the EO's Voyager resumed its journey, Harper realized something important. Anna wasn't just changing the crew. She was reminding them all what it meant to be alive. In her chaos, there was clarity. In her risks, resilience, and in her flaws, strength. For better or worse, she was exactly what the ship needed. The derelict alien vessel remained a mystery, its glowing artifact now deactivated and secured in the *EO's Voyager's * cargo bay. Harper had ordered it sealed off until further analysis could be conducted, but Anna couldn't stop thinking about it. Something about the symbols etched into the walls lingered in her mind, tugging at her curiosity like an unsolved puzzle. Late one night, unable to sleep, Anna slipped into the lab where the artifact was being studied. Vera stood nearby, scanning the object with precision tools while recording data on a tablet. The android looked up as Anna entered, her expression unreadable as always. "You shouldn't be here," Vera said flatly. Captain Harper's orders were clear. Anna held up her hands in mock surrender. "Relax, I'm not going to touch anything. I just wanted to see it again." Vera tilted her head slightly, analyzing Anna's tone. "Curiosity can be dangerous." "Yeah, well, so can boredom," Anna replied with a grin. She moved closer to the artifact, studying the intricate patterns carved into its surface. They seemed almost alive, shifting faintly under the light. Do you think these symbols mean something, like a language or a message? They are unfamiliar, Vera admitted, but preliminary scans suggest they may contain encoded information. Anna frowned, leaning in for a better look. Encoded information about what? Before Vera could respond, the artifact emitted a low hum. Both women froze, their eyes locked on the object as it began to glow faintly. A series of images flickered across its surface, strange, fragmented scenes of towering structures crumbling, skies burning, and beings fleeing in terror. Anna felt a chill run down her spine. "What is that?" she whispered. "It appears to be a record," Vera said, her voice calm but tinged with caution. "Perhaps a historical account." As the images continued to play, Anna noticed recurring motifs. Humanoid figures standing among ruins, holding devices that pulsed with energy. One figure in particular caught her attention, a silhouette surrounded by light, its posture both commanding and ominous. She pointed it out to Vera. "That looks human," Anna said, her voice trembling slightly, "or at least close enough." Vera adjusted her scanner, capturing every detail. "If this is accurate, it suggests humans, or a similar species, played a significant role in this civilization's downfall." Anna stepped back, her mind racing. "You think we destroy them?" "It is possible," Vera replied. "History often repeats itself. Civilizations rise, grow powerful, and eventually collapse due to hubris or conflict." The weight of Vera's words hit Anna hard. She had always known humanity wasn't perfect, but seeing evidence of such destruction firsthand made her question everything. Were humans destined to repeat the same mistakes over and over again? And if so, what did that mean for the rest of the galaxy? When Harper learned about the unauthorized visit, he was furious, but only briefly. Once he saw the footage from the artifact, his anger turned to concern. He called an emergency meeting with the senior crew to discuss their findings. "This changes things," Harper said, pacing the room. "If humans were involved in wiping out an advanced civilization, we need to understand why and how to prevent it from happening again." Anna raised her hand hesitantly. "Maybe it's not about preventing it," she said softly. "Maybe it's about learning. We're not perfect, Captain. None of us are. But we can choose to do better." Her words hung in the air, sparking quiet reflection among the crew. Even Silo, who rarely showed emotion, seemed affected. For all their differences, they shared a common goal: survival. And perhaps, Anna thought, that was the key to moving forward, not perfection, but progress. Over the next few days, Anna threw herself into studying the artifact alongside Vera and Kale. Together, they pieced together fragments of the story, uncovering warnings about unchecked ambition and the dangers of playing God. Each revelation weighed heavily on Anna, but it also strengthened her resolve. If humanity had the power to destroy, it also had the potential to create, to build bridges instead of walls. Harper watched her transformation with quiet admiration. Anna wasn't just solving problems anymore. She was confronting truths that challenged her very identity. Her courage inspired the crew, reminding them that growth came from facing fears, not avoiding them. By the time the artifact's secrets were fully decoded, Anna had earned more than respect. She had become a symbol of hope. Humans might be flawed, unpredictable, and sometimes terrifying, but they were also capable of change. And as long as people like Anna Bennett existed, there was still a chance for redemption, for humanity, and for the galaxy. The *EO's Voyager * had barely left the derelict alien vessel behind when trouble found them again. Without warning, the ship's sensors detected a fleet of hostile vessels closing in fast. Their sleek, jagged designs marked them as raiders, pirates known for preying on unsuspecting ships in uncharted space. Harper immediately ordered the crew to prepare for battle. "Shields up," he commanded, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. Xylo, assess their numbers and armaments. Kale, divert all available power to the engines. Anna stood on the bridge, watching the screens fill with blips representing the approaching enemy ships. Her heart raced, but she forced herself to stay calm. This wasn't her first crisis aboard the *EO's Voyager *, and she knew panicking wouldn't help anyone. "They outnumber us 3-1, Silo reported grimly. "Direct confrontation is not advisable." Harper nodded, his jaw tight. "We'll need a plan, and fast." "Suggestions." Cale tapped nervously at his console, his scaled hands trembling slightly. Vera remained silent, calculating probabilities that likely offered little hope. The room fell quiet until Anna stepped forward. "What if we don't fight?" she asked. Every head turned toward her. Silo frowned deeply. "Surrendering is not an option." "I'm not talking about giving up," Anna replied quickly. "I'm saying we make them think we're stronger than we are. Use misdirection to confuse them." Harper raised an eyebrow. "Explain." Anna gestured toward the main screen. "Their ships are bigger and better armed, but they're also slower. If we split into smaller groups using decoys, they won't know which one to target first. While they're distracted, we can slip away." "It's risky," Silo said sharply. "If even one group is caught, it could mean disaster." "It's our best shot," Anna countered. "Staying put or fighting head-on will get us killed. At least this way, we have a chance." Harper hesitated, weighing the options. He trusted Anna's instincts. They had saved the crew before, but the stakes were higher now. Finally, he gave a curt nod. "Do it." The crew sprang into action. Using spare parts and holographic projectors, Kel and Anna rigged several small drones to mimic the *EO's Voyager's * signature. Once ready, the drones launched in different directions, scattering across the void like sparks from a firework. Meanwhile, the real ship powered down its systems, masking itself as much as possible. On the bridge, everyone held their breath as the raiders hesitated, clearly confused by the sudden appearance of multiple targets. For a moment, it seemed like Anna's plan might work. Then, without warning, one of the enemy ships broke formation and charged directly toward the hidden *EO's Voyager *. "They found us," Silo shouted. "Engines to full." Harper barked. "Get us out of here." The ship lurched forward, narrowly avoiding a barrage of laser fire. Anna gripped the edge of a console, her knuckles white as she watched the chaos unfold. She hadn't accounted for how quickly the raiders could adapt, and guilt gnawed at her for putting the crew in danger. But then something unexpected happened. One of the decoy drones malfunctioned, exploding in a brilliant flash of light. The explosion temporarily blinded the raiders' sensors, creating just enough cover for the *EO's Voyager * to escape. By the time the enemy regrouped, the ship was already far out of range. Back in safer territory, Harper called a debriefing session. The mood was tense, with some crew members praising Anna's quick thinking and others criticizing her recklessness. "You disobeyed orders," Silo accused, his tone icy. "Your actions endangered lives." Anna met his glare without flinching. "And my plan worked. We're alive because I took a risk." Harper raised a hand to silence the growing argument. "Enough. Anna's idea saved us, but she acted without consulting me. That can't happen again." Anna nodded, her expression contrite. "You're right, Captain. I should have involved you sooner. It won't happen again." Though Harper accepted her apology, he couldn't ignore the lingering unease. Anna's boldness had proven invaluable, but it also carried dangers that couldn't be ignored. As the crew dispersed, Harper pulled Anna aside. "You scare me sometimes," he admitted quietly, "but I'd rather have you here than not. Just promise me you'll think twice before jumping into the next fire." Anna smiled faintly. "No promises, Captain, but I'll try." As the *EO's Voyager * continued its journey, Harper realized that Anna's unpredictability wasn't just a challenge, it was a reminder of what made humans unique. They were flawed, yes, but they were also capable of brilliance born from desperation. And in a universe full of uncertainty, perhaps that was exactly what the crew needed most. Tensions aboard the EO's Voyager were high in the days following their narrow escape from the raiders. While Anna's plan had saved them, it also left cracks in the crew's unity. Some, like Kale and Vera, admired her quick thinking and resourcefulness. Others, particularly Vagilo, remained deeply critical of her disregard for protocol. The divide was subtle but undeniable, and Harper knew he couldn't let it fester. The breaking point came during a routine analysis of stellar data. Anna, eager to contribute, suggested an unconventional approach to interpreting the readings. Her idea clashed directly with Xylo's methodical process, sparking a heated argument on the bridge. "This is not how we operate," Xylo snapped, his voice sharp with frustration. "Your constant interference disrupts efficiency." Anna crossed her arms, refusing to back down. "Efficiency doesn't mean much if we're stuck doing things the same way and getting nowhere. Sometimes you need to try something new." "Enough," Harper barked, stepping between them. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to him. He took a deep breath, reining in his irritation. "We don't have time for this. Both of you, my quarters. Now." Once inside, Harper closed the door and turned to face them. His expression was calm, but his tone carried an edge of authority. "What just happened out there cannot happen again. This crew works as a team, or it doesn't work at all." Xylo spoke first, his posture rigid. "Captain, I respect your decisions, but her presence undermines discipline. Every time she questions orders or proposes untested methods, she creates chaos." Harper glanced at Anna, who looked both defiant and guilty. "And what do you have to say?" "I'm not trying to cause trouble," Anna replied, her voice steady despite the weight of Xylo's words. "I just want to help. If I see a better way to do something, I'm going to say it. That's who I am." Harper sighed, rubbing his temples. He understood both perspectives. Xylo valued order and precision, qualities essential for running a starship. But Anna brought creativity and adaptability, traits that had already proven invaluable. Balancing the two seemed impossible. "You're both right, and both wrong," Harper said finally. "Xylo, Anna's ideas may be risky, but they've saved us more than once. We can't afford to dismiss them outright. And Anna," he paused, looking at her squarely, "you need to trust the chain of command. Pushing too hard alienates people who might otherwise support you." Anna nodded reluctantly. "I get it, Captain. I'll try to rein it in." Xylo frowned, but didn't argue further. Harper dismissed them, hoping the conversation would ease the tension. But as the days passed, it became clear that the rift wasn't so easily mended. Anna threw herself into her work, determined to prove her worth without overstepping boundaries. She spent hours in the lab with Vera, analyzing data and refining her suggestions before presenting them. When disagreements arose, she bit her tongue instead of arguing. Her efforts earned grudging respect from some, but Xylo remained distant, his distrust unwavering. Harper noticed the change in Anna. She was quieter now, less confident in voicing her thoughts. While her restraint pleased Xylo, it worried Harper. He had seen firsthand how her boldness could turn the tide in their favor. A subdued Anna wasn't what the crew, or the mission, needed. One evening, Harper found her alone in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. She looked tired, her usual spark dimmed by self-doubt. "You've been holding back," Harper said gently, joining her. Anna shrugged. "I'm just trying to fit in." "You don't need to fit in," Harper replied. "You need to be yourself. The crew relies on your perspective, even if it makes them uncomfortable sometimes." She glanced at him, surprised. "But what about Xylo? He thinks I'm a liability." "Xylo will come around," Harper said firmly. "He's a tactical officer. It's his job to focus on risks. But even he knows we'd be worse off without you." Anna smiled faintly, gratitude flickering in her eyes. "Thanks, Captain. I needed to hear that." As the ship continued its journey, Harper watched Anna slowly regain her confidence. She still chose her battles carefully, but when she spoke, her voice carried conviction. The crew began to rally around her again, reminded of why they valued her presence. In the end, Harper realized that leadership wasn't about eliminating conflict, it was about finding balance. Anna's unpredictability kept everyone sharp, while Xilo's discipline ensured stability. Together, they formed a team capable of facing whatever challenges lay ahead. And though the road wouldn't always be smooth, Harper knew one thing for certain. Humanity's greatest strength was its ability to adapt. And Anna embodied that spirit perfectly. The *EOS Voyager * entered an uncharted nebula, its swirling colors casting eerie shadows across the ship's corridors. The crew had been tasked with mapping the region, but as they ventured deeper, their sensors picked up strange readings emanating from a massive structure at the nebula center. It was ancient and enormous, shaped like a ring floating silently in space. Harper ordered the ship to approach cautiously. Anna stood on the bridge, her eyes wide with wonder as the artifact loomed closer. "What do you think it is?" she asked, her voice tinged with excitement. "It's unknown," Silo replied curtly, "and potentially dangerous." Anna shot him a look but held her tongue. She had promised Harper she would be more careful, and so far, she was keeping that promise. Still, the artifact tugged at her curiosity, urging her to investigate. When a shuttle was dispatched to explore the structure, Anna volunteered immediately. This time, however, Harper hesitated. "Are you sure about this?" he asked quietly before giving his approval. "I'm sure," Anna said, though her usual confidence wavered slightly. "I'll be careful. I promise." Inside the artifact, the team discovered walls covered in glowing symbols similar to those from the derelict alien vessel. The air felt heavy, almost alive, as if the structure itself were watching them. Anna ran her fingers lightly over the markings, her mind racing with questions. "These symbols, they're warnings," Vera said, analyzing the data. "They speak of destruction, not just of civilizations, but entire worlds." Kale shivered visibly. "This place gives me bad feelings." Anna nodded, sharing his unease, but instead of backing away, she pressed forward, drawn by an instinct she couldn't explain. In the heart of the structure, they found a chamber filled with holographic projections, scenes played out before their eyes. Advanced beings harnessing unimaginable power, only to lose control of it. Cities burned, stars collapsed, and entire species vanished in flashes of light. "It's a cautionary tale," Anna whispered, her voice trembling. "They destroyed themselves because they wanted too much, because they didn't stop when they should have." Harper, who had joined the exploration team, stepped beside her. "A reminder," he said grimly. "Power without restraint leads to ruin." The weight of the message hit Anna hard. She thought of humanity's own history, of wars fought over greed, of technologies misused, of mistakes repeated again and again. Was this where humans were headed? Would they follow the same path as these long-dead aliens? As the team prepared to leave, Anna lingered for a moment, staring at the final projection. A lone figure standing amidst the ruins, holding a flickering light. It was a symbol of hope, faint but enduring. For all the destruction shown, the artifact also carried a plea: to learn, to change, to survive. Back on the ship, Anna shared her thoughts with Harper during a quiet moment in the observation deck. "Do you think we can avoid their fate?" she asked, her voice soft but earnest. "Or are we doomed to make the same mistakes?" Harper gazed out at the stars, his expression thoughtful. "I don't know," he admitted, "but I believe we have a choice. Every day, we decide what kind of future we want to build. And having someone like you around, someone who challenges us to think differently, gives me hope." Anna smiled faintly, touched by his words. "Hope isn't enough, though. We need action. We need to remember what happened here and use it to do better." The crew took the artifact's warning to heart. Over the next few days, discussions about responsibility and restraint became a regular part of life aboard the *EO's Voyager *. Even Silo, typically reserved, joined in, offering insights on risk management and ethical decision-making. Anna listened intently, realizing that the artifact hadn't just taught her fear, it had inspired reflection. By the time the *EO's Voyager * left the nebula behind, Anna felt a renewed sense of purpose. Humanity might be flawed, reckless, and sometimes terrifying, but it was also capable of growth. Mistakes could become lessons, and failures could pave the way for redemption. As Harper watched Anna interact with the crew, he saw the impact she had made, not just through her actions, but through her spirit. She reminded everyone that survival wasn't just about avoiding danger. It was about learning, adapting, and striving to be better. And in a universe full of uncertainty, that was something worth fighting for. The *EO's Voyager * was nearing the end of its mission in the nebula when disaster struck again. The ship's sensors detected a sudden collapse within the massive alien artifact they had explored earlier. Energy surges rippled outward, destabilizing the structure and threatening to crush anything caught inside. Harper immediately ordered an evacuation of the area, but the shuttle team sent to retrieve additional data was still trapped inside. Anna was among them. "Captain, we've got a problem," Cale reported from engineering. "The energy field around the artifact is interfering with our transporters. We can't beam them out." Harper clenched his fists, his mind racing. "Can we get a shuttle in there?" Dilo shook his head grimly. "Negative. The field will tear it apart before it reaches them." On board the shuttle, Anna and 2 other crew members worked frantically to stabilize their craft as debris rained down around them. The chamber they were in was beginning to collapse, walls cracking and supports crumbling under the strain. Panic threatened to take hold, but Anna forced herself to focus. "We need to create a gap in the energy field," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos. "If we overload the shuttle's shield generator, it might disrupt the field long enough for the others to escape." One of the crew members, a young engineer named Herrick, stared at her in disbelief. "That'll destroy the shuttle." "It's the only way," Anna replied firmly. "I'll stay behind to trigger the overload. You 2 get back to the ship." Tarek hesitated, torn between duty and survival. Finally, he nodded reluctantly. "All right, but you don't have to do this alone." "Yes, I do," Anna said, her tone leaving no room for argument. "Now go." As the others scrambled into their suits and prepared to exit the shuttle, Anna stayed behind, rerouting power to the shield generator. Her hands moved quickly over the controls, sweat dripping down her face as alarms blared around her. She knew the odds weren't in her favor, but she also knew there was no other choice. Back on the *EO's Voyager *, Harper watched helplessly as the shuttle's signal flickered on the monitors. "Anna, what are you doing?" he demanded over the comlink. "I'm buying them time," she replied, her voice calm but strained. "Tell the others to move fast. I'm giving them 30 seconds. "Anna, don't." Harper started, but she cut him off. "No time for arguments, Captain. Just make sure they make it out alive." With that, she severed the connection and initiated the overload sequence. A burst of energy erupted from the shuttle, momentarily disrupting the artifact's collapsing field. Outside, Tarek and the other crew members sprinted toward safety, narrowly avoiding falling debris. Behind them, the shuttle and Anna vanished beneath a cascade of rubble. The bridge fell silent as the crew processed what had happened. Harper slumped into his chair, his face pale with shock. For a moment, it seemed like all hope was lost. But then, against all odds, a faint signal appeared on the scanners. "Life signs detected," Cale shouted, his claws trembling with excitement. "She's alive." Moments later, Anna stumbled out of the wreckage, battered but breathing. The crew erupted into cheers as Harper ordered a medical team to retrieve her. When she finally returned to the ship, bruised and exhausted, the entire crew gathered to welcome her back. "You scared us," Harper said quietly as he helped her to the infirmary. "I scared myself too," Anna admitted with a weak smile. "But I couldn't let anyone else die." Her actions cemented her place in the hearts of the crew. No longer just a recruit, she was now a hero, an embodiment of courage and selflessness. Even Silo, who rarely showed emotion, gave her a rare nod of respect. In the days that followed, Anna recovered slowly, her body healing, but her spirit stronger than ever. Harper often found her staring out at the stars, lost in thought. When he asked what she was thinking about, she simply smiled. "Just wondering how much farther we can go," she said, "and hoping we never forget why we're here, to learn, to grow, and to keep pushing forward." As the EO's Voyager resumed its journey, Harper realized something profound. Anna wasn't just a crew member. She was a reminder of humanity's resilience, flaws and all, and in a universe full of dangers, having someone like her made all the difference.